Welcome to this webinar, and the webinar is all about the winter solstice. And I'm Pam Carruthers of Healing Stars. Those of you who don't know me yet, welcome to this presentation. And my purpose is to help people navigate major life transitions gracefully, key word, gracefully, with my soul astrology and spiritual life coaching. Okay, so here, the winter solstice. It is a time of bringing in the light. It's when the sun reaches its southernmost point for the year. So from the north, northern hemisphere, we're talking, of course, about winter. In the south, they're starting summer. So in 2015, it happens today, it happened tomorrow rather, 4:48 GMT, December 22nd. And in the States, the solstice falls December 21st. And the timing is 11:48 p.m. EST, 10:48 p.m. CST, 9:48 MST, and 8:48 PST. So if you're in one of those time zones, that's your actual time. And it's rather nice because those, of course, will be a sunset. So this picture is of Stonehenge, not this year. It's last year. It's a sunset picture, as you can see. Quite stunning. Here's the chart for those of you who know astrology and hopefully been following me. And I use a system of colour, the colour wheel, to give you some idea of the sense. This is a circle. It's not a linear thing. Time is always a circle. And this is a very beautiful solstice in some ways. Not everything is positive. Nothing ever is perfect. But we do have, first of all, a grand Earth trine. And that is between Pluto down here in the royal blue sector with Mercury. And it's aligning, follow the blue line, across to the moon. The moon will just have set at the time of the solstice, in the UK, that is. But it's at 17 degrees, Taurus. There it is, and it makes a trine, a flow of energy up to Jupiter. King of the gods, most benefic planet is Jupiter. And Jupiter is very close at the moment to the North Node, and it's in the sign of Virgo. Not a great place for Jupiter, albeit Jupiter always brings blessings. It's our guardian angel. As a planet, it protects us from all the asteroids that might crash into our Earth, our planet. So that, first of all, that grand trine is a flow of positive energy to manifest. Earth is all about the physical, what we can touch, smell, feel, taste, the senses. So we can manifest the moon, heart, energy, Taurus. The moon is exalted. That means it gives off its absolute best. It's approaching the Pleiades, for those of you who know about the constellations, the Seven Sisters, and that's the exact point of exaltation. Pluto is all about power. It's the unconscious, and we need to understand the unconscious so it can trip us up. Mercury, of course, is the messenger. Hopefully most people know that, the messenger planet, and it's heavy in Capricorn. Mercury is always close to the sun, always close. Here's the sun at 0 degrees of Capricorn. So Mercury can never move far away because it orbits around the sun. Venus. Venus is, in the UK, the first planet to rise above the ascendant as set for Stonehenge. And Venus is in Scorpio. Now, Scorpio isn't a great place for Venus. However, I don't buy into these kind of negative energies to do with signs and planets. Venus is the goddess of love. In Scorpio, this is an intense, passionate love. Intensity, love of intensity. It is wearing black and red. It's Kali's energy. It's the sorceress. Now, traditionally, that will be seen as not a good thing. But as I said, I am a Scorpio. Venus is in my sign. I love her. She's also, Venus is in Scorpio, a sign governed by Mars. And here's Mars in Libra. Mars is weak in Libra. Mars is the planet that gets us things. It's action. In Libra, it has to be diplomatic. It has to be restraint, and it can be passive-aggressive. However, these two are exchanging signs. Mars and Venus exchange signs, which is a good thing. So they can come together. And that is the goddess of love, the god of war, god of passion, in unity. And that is a very tight, what we call a semi-sextile. They're just one sign apart. Venus is also connecting up to Jupiter. You can see the degrees, 22 degrees, 20 degrees, and also Mercury. This is also very good for us, for the ritual that we're going to hopefully all perform together, not together at the same time, but each individual. Venus, what we love, Mercury, speaking, making a statement, writing, but definitely communicating, and Jupiter, our vision, our highest vision, what we truly want in a very practical way, and to do with healing. We do have all these red energies you see here, squares, oppositions, but the thing is that what's interesting, most of them are waning. That means they're moving away. So Mars is opposite Uranus, about 23 degrees, 16 degrees. That was, that's moved, that's fairly far apart. You might still feel that, you feel sensitive. Mars is also making a square, attention to, let's try and get my little mouse to play, it's playing up here, down to Mercury. So this is, difficult communications, definitely, kind of sharp, acerbic, not comfortable. And also we've got an ongoing tension of Saturn, a slow planet in Sagittarius now, with Neptune in Pisces. Now that is fairly close, and that can be a lot of suffering, a lot of difficulty, because Neptune is the vision, the highest connection with oneness, and Saturn is reality, brings us down to ground. So that is a tense aspect, although it has, as I said, moved away. Venus is also making a trine to Chiron, the wounded healer planet. So there's a lot of opportunity at this time for each of us, and as a group energy, we're all connecting here on this webinar, and also hopefully with the ritual, you'll remember that we're all together tonight on the eve of the solstice. Now the sun in Capricorn is old father time, and of course, this is the new year picture, January the 1st, when we, celebrate another new beginning of the calendar. But the solstice is also, of course, extremely important, because we're now aligning ourselves with the seasons and with this movement of the sun. It slows. It's not actually slowing down, but as seen from Earth, it slows over 3 days. It is a time of completion. Capricorn is ruled by the planet Saturn, and Saturn is old father time, which is dark and somber and bleak. It's not a happy, jolly planet. Saturn, Jupiter is happy and jolly. Saturn is somber. But Capricorn is a sign of initiation. It's a turning point because it's a cardinal sign, what we call a cardinal sign. And the other 3 signs that signify the seasons are the cardinal signs. They're the turning points. So Aries, spring, Cancer, summer, Libra, autumn. If you are one of those, you are a cardinal sign, which means that you can initiate things, begin things. Saturn is also Lord of Karma, a word that is bandied about. Now, all karma really means, isn't it? By what we sow, we shall reap. By our actions, we'll see results. So if we act in a good way, positive, we will get that back. If we don't, we get negative things back. It's the law of action and repercussions. But Saturn is also our guide to spiritual mastery. One other astrologer called it the cosmic chiropractor. I like that. I think that's a really interesting phrase. So to adjust, get things back, and no pun intended there, but it does rule the backbone of our bodies. So how we stand, how we mature. We stand on our own 2 feet. Maturity is the key word. And Saturn's principle is Lord of the Rings. It's boundaries. It's a gateway. And as you can see, these are the rings of Saturn. So there's great beauty here. Great beauty. And we can see Saturn with the naked eye. It's that close to us. It takes about 28 and a quarter years to go around the whole of the 12 signs. To go around your birth chart. That's how long it takes. And it does govern time. Now in the tarot, which I love using tarot, Saturn is very aligned with the Hermit. It's not the actual card for Saturn, but the theme of this, I believe, is very true, especially at this solstice. And I'm quoting here from the Osho Zen Tarot, who shows this beautiful picture of this monk-like figure and the light. And as it says here, the humble figure in this card glows with a light that emanates from within. And one of Buddha's most significant contributions to the spiritual life of humankind was to insist to his disciples, be a light unto yourself. To me, that's a very key phrase for this moment of time when we are reconnecting with the connection with the sun itself, with the movement of the sun coming north towards us in the northern hemisphere. Our days will not now start to get longer. So ultimately, each of us must develop within ourselves the capacity to make our way through the darkness without any companions, maps, or guide. And also from the same suit, it says, aloneness is the presence of oneself. Loneliness is the absence of the other. So the key to this time of year, to Capricorn and Sun, is connecting with that light within. Making peace with the past. Now, that's a big task, all right? So all I'm looking at the moment is, for you to contemplate. This is not something you can quickly answer, but to have a think about over the next few days. Maybe you might want to wait for the new year for this, but what's been the story of your year? You can look at, if you do keep a diary or a journal or some record, to see month by month what's happened in your life. What successes have you had in your work, in relationships, in family, in your creativity, and in your spirituality? It's so important for us to look at what's gone right rather than what's gone wrong. Okay? So easy for the ego to go, oh, you didn't do that well. Oh, that was a failure. So I really would like you to notice things that have brought you success, a feeling of joy, a feeling of happiness. It could be small things. It doesn't have to be huge, you found the cure for cancer type thing. But something, as I said, brought you some joy. What would you like to let go of? Very, very crucial. One thing I did this year was buy a book called The Magic of Tidying by Marie Kondo. Great little book, great idea. She looks at every object that you've got, that's the idea, every single possession, and say, does this bring you joy? If it doesn't, you let it go. You send it to charity or you bin it. But it's, your clothes, your books. I've let go of at least 100 books this year, books I've never read and never will, just loading me down, burdens. So that's a very key thing, to let go of our burdens. And also, are we making wise choices? It's a very Saturn expression, that. And one exercise given to me a long time ago now, about 20 years ago, was a lovely woman friend I had, older than me, and she said, in times of trouble, imagine your older self, and that's your wise man or your wise woman, talking to you and comforting you. Her name's Jane Corcoran. and I'm getting tingly as I speak those words, because she was my wise woman, and she was older than me. And so I often think of her at times when I need that connection. Now, Saturn in Sagittarius is, I think that they call it an oxymoron. It's Saturn is, this is questioning our beliefs. This is a really difficult transit of Saturn, I would suggest. Saturn does demand simplicity, it demands realism, and it demands truth, whatever and wherever it touches our charts. But it's in Jupiter's sign at the moment. Sagittarius is Jupiter's sign, and this beautiful picture is of Sagittarius, the archer, who is looking to the future. It's Zeus, the thunder god there. You can see him up there in the sky. You know, it's a very positive future image. But Saturn is holding us back from that. So we need to find a balance here between contraction and expansion. Being too slapdash, which can be Jupiter or Sagittarius, and too controlled, that's Saturn. And if we're keeping this fine balance, it can be very difficult. It can consume a lot of our time and our energy. We seek out growth at Sagittarius, but Saturn is seeing to it that we do so in a disciplined manner, having a plan for our future. You know, it's that classic, you know, what are your goals? Where do you see yourself next year, in a year's time? Where do you see yourself in 6 months, in 3 months, in a month, in a week? You know, and chunk it down. NLP training coming out here. Chunk it down so you can, like, small tasks you can maybe do even one a day to achieve your a huge goal, something that will last through time, because that's what Saturn is about. Also, it's asking us to take on the responsibility of living according to our personal truths and our principles, and to be loyal to these. That's not easy. That does mean walking our talk. And that is sometimes, well, only humans sometimes we can't actually do that without help. It's a time, and Saturn's going to stay in Sagittarius for at least another year and a half. It's a time for turning a critical eye to those beliefs and principles that don't accurately reflect our authentic selves. Saturn, like the cosmic chiropractor, wants us to succeed. It wants us to do things step by step, to take our time. So this is as I said, an axiom, you know, it's a difficult combination, but it's important not to let your ego run the show and keep you held back. So some questions to ask here. Saturn says, where do I need to guard against excesses of caution and hesitancy? What fear unconsciously shapes and limits my scope of self-expression? And Stephen Levine, this is a book I haven't completely read, and finding this quote today, I thought, I think I need to read this book, because he says this is a time of year of remembrance and thinking of those we love. And he asks this very deep question, very beautiful. If you were going to die soon and had only one phone call you could make, who would you call and what would you say? And why are you waiting? I had a call like that once from a friend, and she did die. And as I'm speaking those words, I'm remembering her. And it was a beautiful phone call. So have you left something undone? Have you left some communication that you need to say to someone precious to you in your life? So now's the time to tend to it. Only now exists. As you can see, his book is called A Year to Live. How to live this year as if it were your last. It's not a gloomy book, that I can tell you. It's full of hope and joy. Talking of which, this is Saturnalia. I have cropped it. It was an incredibly rude picture. So I'm going, oh, Puritan on here, but you can see a nice bottom there from this. They're nymphs, basically. There's lots of nymphs happening, jolly things going on here, and satires, all those kind of Greek things. I don't know what you call them, but satires. Saturnalia is what we're celebrating, and this is a time to let off steam. Saturn does get a lot of bad press. It's all about control. It's all about discipline. But in ancient times, Saturn was celebrated. It was the festival of Saturnalia. And quoting from my dear friend Wikipedia, Saturnalia was an ancient Roman festival, and it was in honor of the deity Saturn. And it was held on December 17th of the Julian calendar, and then later expanded with festivities right through to December the 23rd. And this is really what Christmas is about for a lot of us, not for everyone. But the holiday was celebrating with a sacrifice at the temple of Saturn in the Roman Forum and a public banquet, followed by private gift-giving, continual partying and a carnival atmosphere that overturned Roman social norms. Gambling was permitted, and masters provided table service for their slaves. And Saturn is very much about being of service. So it's interesting that here the tables were turned. And the idea is it's important to enjoy. It's important to let rip, to let all the control go and just have fun. And that's what we tend to do at Christmas. On a deeper note, a more spiritual note, this is also a time of year to connect to Archangel Michael. It's not his actual celebration, but he is to do with this, the time of the north. And he is saying to asking the right question. He is the protector of the north, which is the house of winter. His realm is the spirit and dreaming. This is a time, of course, when everything is quiet, when things are growing underground. The trees have left and have their leaves. We see the structure of what we're used to in summer. You see all the leaves, but this is the structure of the tree. And this is the time of contemplation. Archangel Michael brings peace, harmony, and global cooperation. And his name means, who is like God? It's a question. And he teaches us to learn to ask the right question. And I've mentioned this many times, but it's a very important phrase. Would you rather be right or be happy? Sometimes we need to let go of being right in order to join with someone and be truly happy. Righteousness is the negative aspect of Sagittarius, and Saturn in Sagittarius can bring this out as a shadow. So you can see this going on in the world, of course, with the conflict with religions. Archangel Michael, in the lovely deck of cards which I own, Doreen Virtue's Ascended Masters Oracle card, says, you can do it. And I love that. And usually he's painted, I think you must have seen, with his sword poised above a pinned down demon. And what it's doing is signifying Michael's primary purpose is to slay the ego and to slay fear. He holds a sword to cut away fearful attachments that binds us in apathy or, my favorite, procrastination. So call on him for protection, strength, for motivation, clarity, and courage. You can do it. There's a great theme for this solstice and for coming year. Here's the chart again to recap, because I'm going to go through the little ritual, which is on my website as a PDF. You can download it. It's a lot easier than trying to follow a webinar. So notice it again. Notice the connection to Venus. Venus, wherever you are in the world, whatever time the solstice is, will be opposite the moon in Taurus. And the moon in Taurus is governed by Venus. So there's a lot of goddess energy here. And the fact that Venus and Mars exchange sign brings in Venus's own sign of Libra into the mix. Pluto, Mercury, powerful statement to have those two planets side by side. Mercury is moving fast, so it doesn't stay there for long, but it is a theme to be aware of the seriousness of what we say, what we write, what we communicate. Also, one thing, not a lot of people know this, but to quote Michael Caine, but also Saturn, Capricorn, can be really funny. It's dry humour. And a lot of comedians have strong Saturn in their chart. So it's important to recognise, the jovial, the humour. And that's important to laugh at ourselves, isn't it? Not to take ourselves too seriously, that we crack pavements with our weight. So, of course, fire is the natural element of the sun, so lighting candles symbolises the arrival of the light and the rebirth of the sun as the days increase in length in our northern hemisphere. So in this chart, all the four elements are represented, but there is a strong focus on the earth signs. And in my ritual, I've given you the sequence in order as they rise above the horizon at 4:48 a.m. on December 22nd at Amesbury in Stonehenge in the UK. And as I said earlier, it depends on your time zone when the sun moves into Capricorn for you. So it's either December 21st or the 22nd. But this chart is ruled by Scorpio, so you can use it symbolically because it connects you to Stonehenge. So even if you're not, of course, you're not in the UK, you're not going to do this at 4:48 in the morning, but just to realise that connection with this extraordinary place of Stonehenge, which is completely allied to the solstice. So to prepare for the ritual, you may like to burn incense or aromatherapy oil. My suggestion is frankincense, but it's up to you, of course, to choose your favourite. The idea is to arrange 13 tea lights or candles. Tea lights, of course, are very easy, in a line, as you can see in this picture, preferably in a corridor and with the lights off, so you're just looking at those lights. Place a keyword. Don't have to, but it's quite nice if you want to. Or you write down the affirmations if you want to as well. Or choose a small object by each tea light to sum up the planet's energy. So, Venus, love, and you could just do that. And you might like to play some music that has some meaning for you. I love the Gladiator film track called Now We Are Free, because it has the word, shalom, has that word in it. It's just beautiful. And Glorious is one of my all-time favourite films because it has such a fantastic ending. So at your appointed time, with intention, slowly walk along this path. There are 13 steps. So as you meet each candle, as you reflect on the quality of the planet, integrate its message and move on. And it's meant to be helpful, this process and healing. Letting go can be a powerful healing process. It doesn't have to be. I don't say you have to do this really kind of serious, but just with intention. So to take your time, but don't get caught in taking far too long. Each step is about a minute, 2 minutes kind of. And arrange those lights about two of your feet away. So, this is a fair distance. Hopefully you've got a corridor, a hallway, any room where you've got that kind of space in your home. And if you wanted to, you could go outside. However, in the UK, it's so windy, I don't think that's going to work. But it's up to you. So here is the ritual. Love and relationship, Venus in Scorpio. I desire passion. I'm willing to dive deep into relationships to open my heart and transform my life. Scorpio is all about transformation. Second step is Saturn, about structure. In Sagittarius, I seek truth and understanding. I let go of self-defeating beliefs that have been holding me back so I may nurture faith, hope, and vision. The Sun, Capricorn, is about leadership, our inner leader, our inner sun. So I commit to stepping into leadership. And in my view, that means listening and responding for answering the call for help from a friend, from wherever. It doesn't mean lonely at the top. But this is to follow your heart and to persevere, to achieve success one step at a time. It's not about rushing. Transformation, Pluto comes next, Pluto in Capricorn. I commit to facing my shadow and embracing my authentic power to transform my life. Next comes Mercury, also in Capricorn, communication. So again, I commit to listening to the wise elder within to achieve my goals. We now meet Neptune in Pisces, its own sign, transcendence. I believe in a higher power in the universe. That, of course, can be God, can be the creator, can be the goddess. That's up to you. But a higher power than your physical being. Next is Chiron in Pisces, the healing energy, the wounded healer. I will build a rainbow bridge to heal all wounds that have disconnected me from the source. Chiron is known as the rainbow bridge. It links Saturn and Uranus. Literally, that's its orbit. Past lives, the South Node is in Pisces now, will be for 18 months. So I will learn the lessons of the past and receive their messages through my dreams. Pisces is imagination, it's intangible, it's the subconscious, it's not the conscious thing. So you might find your dreams are really bringing you messages. And a dream journal is always a good idea to recall those. Liberation, Uranus in Aries, still here, it's a 7-year cycle. So I initiate innovation and welcome changes in my life. Uranus takes no prisoners. It will bring change to you. And it's about welcoming that rather than resisting it. Feelings, the moon in the beautiful sign of Taurus. I value beauty and promise to nurture and appreciate my body and the goddess within. Faith, Jupiter in Virgo. I find joy as I grow and expand my knowledge of healing methods to be in service to others. Now that's a very broad statement, but that can be nutrition, it can be hands-on, it can be anything where you are connecting to the goddess, the Virgo. It is the sign of healing. It's also, you might want to let go of perfectionism. Add that in. The negative aspect of Virgo. Caught in the nitty-gritty detail and missing the big picture. Destiny is the North Node, also in Virgo. I seek my destiny and focus on priorities. And lastly, but not least, energy and sexuality of Mars in Libra. I balance diplomacy with self-assertion, so I partner honestly and harmoniously with others. I mentioned it briefly, Mars in Libra can be passive-aggressive, which of course forces other people to get really angry. Don't know if you've noticed that, but I certainly have. It is one of my faults, I do know that. So that's it. As I said, the PDF is on my website. I just sent a newsletter out for those on my newsletter, and the new people, you will also receive this. I'll make sure you receive it. So also in the tarot, the true card of Saturn is the last card in the major arcana, is the world. And in this, a maiden is dancing. She's in this beautiful image here. She's wrapped in violet silk and she's carrying a wand in each hand. She's the scarlet woman dancing the dance of time and eternity, spiraling and twirling through life as a blithe spirit. I love the work of Tadman, and this is from his book, The Elements of Tarot, which I've had for a very long time. And I'm going to give you a guided meditation in a moment. But the affirmation, I am a co-creator of the world, and know I will be nurtured and supported by it as I acknowledge my identity with all its actions. So I'd like you now, if you would, to just prepare for a little meditation, a guided imagery to connect with this beautiful dancer. Notice in the card there are the four signs, four fixed signs of the zodiac. There's Aquarius, there's Scorpio, there's Leo, there's Taurus. They are also the four creatures of the apocalypse, Ezekiel's vision. And that's, of course, a garland of flowers. So if you just prepare for the meditation, please, and close your eyes, put your feet on the floor, and take a few deep breaths. Drifting through the dark and cold vastness of space, piloting against unmeasurable and unimaginable clusters of galaxies and backgrounds of the void, you enter a sacred domain. The spiral of stars swirls in an oval form around and around, its boundaries clearly alive with the animals, the objects and the beings of the zodiac belt. Their presence can be felt, as though instead of stars, they are the bodies of these mythic creatures from whom our lives are created. At the center of their swirling movement, instead of the outer coldness, is a warmth, a golden glow rising from a dancing goddess, spinning and leaping in supremely beautiful arcs, wearing only a glimmer of a violet silken cloth draped around her as the wings of an angel. As you come closer, she glides near and whispers in your ear the key to enlightenment. Now, I'm not suggesting you heard a message, but you might have done. And if not now, maybe tonight, maybe on the eve, on the evening of the solstice, to watch your dreams, to listen for those signs of the dancing goddess coming towards you. So open your eyes and come back into your body, into your room. And I'm going to leave you with one last slide, which I thought was rather appropriate. Yoda. What a beautiful being is Yoda. And he very much encompasses the wisdom of Saturn. And he's much quoted, but I found this today. Size matters not. Look at me. Judge me by my size, do you? And well, you should not. For my ally is the force, and a powerful ally it is. Life creates it, makes it grow. Its energy surrounds us and binds us. Luminous beings are we, not this crude matter. You must feel the force around you, here, between you, me, the tree, the rock, everywhere. Yes. We are welcoming in the light. That is the theme of the winter solstice. So by doing that ritual, you are connecting to the planets, to the constellations, stars, galaxies. There's a gorgeous little being called Yoda, the wise one within.